Chefs, what red flags should people look out for when they go out to eat? A $4 steak is not a good steak. If employees try to argue with you about food quality in order to dissuade you from sending something undercooked back, just leave. It means they have a cook who can't take criticism and your chances at getting a sneezer are greatly increased. Dirty stained carpets. I agree with most of these tips, but man, I remember my trip to Malacca, Malaysia. We walked up to a stall where an elderly lady was squatting down just in front of the sidewalk with a plastic basin and washing the dishes in it. Stray cats were coming in from the alley and licking her dishes. My first question was, is this a restaurant? Upon closer inspection, yes, it is. My second question was, who on earth would eat here? Then our guide brought us inside. Looks like *weare**. Food was amazing and delicious, and despite fearing the worst, nobody got sick. Edit. Wow, I didn't realize this comment would be so popular. Thanks Reddit. To answer the question why would you even eat there? Our trip up until that point had been very well planned. Stayed in a great Holiday Inn with a delicious international breakfast buffet. Tour bus was very clean. The highlight of the trip was when they took us to a pineapple farm and we got to sample. Hint, supermarket pineapple has *nothing* on the fresh stuff. Most of the restaurants we had been taken to were, by Western standards, quite clean. This one was definitely an outlier in that regard, but by this point we had developed a trust in our guide. I would never have even thought to walk into this place on my own accord, but then I would have missed out on some amazing food. I should post some pictures. Pretty sure I have a pic of that cat. Ask where your oysters come from. If they don't know, you don't want them. Works for most seafood. Pastry chef here. As much as people say avoid specials, I can't speak for everyone, but at least in dessert/breakfast pastries, if you see something new it's worth trying. Chances are it's something the chef has been working on for weeks on their own time. There's a lot of love and effort put into it. Also, the standby if the menu is a book, it's probably not great. The biggest thing to keep an eye on though is the staff. If there's pissed off people, get out as fast as you can obviously. If everyone is kinda apathetic and not talking to each other much, get out. That's also a shitty environment. Everyone is probably really passive aggressive, and that's going to show. If people seem genuinely good with being there even if it's busy, or if there's playful ragging going on, that's where you want to be. The better the staff gets along, the better everything in the place runs. Pro tip, look up the health inspector reports for your county. If a restaurant has a one-page menu, that's usually a pretty good sign. It means their line cooks have become specialists and can usually nail all the dishes listed. Conversely, if a restaurant has a giant, multi-page menu, that's a gigantic red flag. The longer the menu, the better the odds that you're paying to eat a boiled bag frozen meal. Not a chef, but worked in food a lot. Carpet. Yeah, it's quieter and doesn't get slick, but it is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. I saw them pull it up when they remodeled and put in more carpet. Vacuuming only goes so far in a restaurant, and I know they never ever shampooed it. Not a chef, but I just took a chance on a restaurant today, and the chefs were sitting, legs up, right next to the front door as I walked in. No one but staff and me there. So, according to how my stomach feels, probably that. Pictures of food on the menu that clearly aren't from the restaurant. If a restaurant has a huge menu, it's all frozen. If the area is busy, but the restaurant is empty, that's usually a bad sign. I have a family member who's worked in multiple different restaurants, and they always advise me never to get drinks with ice, because too many places don't keep their ice machines cleaned, because it's so often overlooked compared to other kitchen equipment. Cook for a small Mexican restaurant here. I always look for how the staff interact with each other. If they all seem to enjoy being there and coordinate well, more often than not it's because everything is running smoothly and they have a good system, which usually means they know what they're doing and you can expect good food. That's how it always is for the smaller, family-run restaurants I frequent anyway, which I believe always have the best food. When the menus are super dirty and never cleaned, that means everything is super dirty and never cleaned. Not a chef. Front of the house. when my boss, the owner, used to host and people would complain to her about the hour wait on Saturday night at 7 p.m. and then threaten to leave, she would tell them, if the restaurant you choose does not have a wait on a Saturday night, you may not want to eat there, and then turn her biggest shit-eating grin on them. Can I add you to the list? The first thing they told us in culinary school when you're learning the basic rules for food safety standards is, if you enter a seafood restaurant and smell fish, leave. There's a Chinese restaurant in my town with a sign out front that says, clean food and fresh. I still can't help but wonder why they would bring that up unprovoked. If you order a meal that should take a long time to cook and it comes out very quickly, it's been pre-cooked. Edit. This applies mostly to quiet nights. If it's quiet and it comes out immediately, it's just been sitting there. But if it's busy, then there's enough turnover that it's likely alright and chefs are just being prepared.